Surf's up, guys, it's Mauisnake here, and today we're doing another Pick'ems video with Pickstop. I hope you guys did well in the play-in stage, because I know I did. Yep, that's right, number one. Actually, I think I'm number one in the world, like, tied right now, you know? I think I have 14 points, and the highest anybody has is 14 points, as you can see right there. But you only have an hour and a half to submit this, so you better get it in. We're going to go through these very quickly so that I can upload this in time, and that you can be reminded that you should be submitting your pick'ems to Pickstop. As always, this video is made in partnership with Pickstop. Be sure to sign up and to join my league. Okay, here we go. Liquid versus IHC. This is a Liquid game. IHC's run was spectacular. That win over Furia made me believe. This is actually a game that's probably one that some people might get baited in again, but I think that Liquid have shown, other than the Blast groups that they just played, that they're a really good team, and if they actually just solidify their veto a little bit, I think they're going to be very strong. Cloud9 versus Na'Vi is a weird one. I actually think Na'Vi, both of these teams have kind of made changes lately, but I actually think Cloud9 have retained more of their core and what they're strong at. Buster, actually, it's kind of hard to read right now because he hasn't played too many strong teams, but I think this move is just like, I mean, I think everybody kind of said it was a lateral move, and I think it kind of is, and that kind of doesn't mean, it means that Cloud9 still should be okay in these kinds of games. Na'Vi, on the other hand, I just haven't really loved what I've seen from NPL and Electronic as the IGL, and so I'm going to give this a C9. Maybe a little bit surprising. G2 big. We're going to be going with G2 in this. I'm going to actually just show you guys right now. Spoiler, I'm actually going with G2 to make it past whoever here. Spirit FaZe. And that's where it's a little bit weird because I'm obviously picking FaZe here, but I am picking G2 to make it past them. And that is kind of a preview for who I think is going to win the tournament. If I have to pick a winner today, I'm just going to say I think it's G2. Maybe I'm not going in the order you wanted me to go in, but you know what? It's a weird bracket. We're speeding through it. Liquid C9. This is a matchup that Liquid have actually done very well in the past. Yakindar was very good at reading the mid rounds for Cloud9 and telling them being his team how to play against Cloud9. Daps even said on It's Server Time, RIP to the GOAT podcast. NA GOAT. Let's just keep it like that. It's the NA GOAT. Okay, Peeker's Advantage was pretty good too. But I think that Daps on It's Server Time really he kind of teased that there was some stuff that he knew Cloud9 were not good at, and I don't really think Cloud9 have changed their structure too much. So I'm going to go with Liquid here. And this, again, feels kind of weird based off of recent form. But then let's just go to the lower bracket. Na'Vi versus IHC, Na'Vi all day. Big versus Spirit, this is a little bit contentious. It kind of depends. This is hard because right now it's really tough to say because I think Big look better than Spirit, but I think Spirit can ramp up a little bit better. If Spirit take a map off of FaZe, a la PGL, Antwerp, Major, like they did, or they tested them there, I guess they tested them. That was a good one. It's kind of hard for me to say that's going to be the same thing because obviously the lineups change a lot. I'm actually going to go with Big here. I think Spirit just kind of, for some reason, they just feel like they lost a step for some reason after the player break, and Big look like they're actually getting better. You know, after the FaZe series, I would maybe change my mind, but you just have to submit these pick'ems, so you just gotta go. FaZe Na'Vi. This could be a grand finals in itself, but I'm gonna go with FaZe. I just think Na'Vi, again, I just don't think they've actually corrected a lot of their issues, and it does seem like Blade in the interview recently talking about NPL, that they want to see how he is after Katowice. You know, they're gonna assess how good he is then, and then they might make a change after that. Cloud9 versus Big. Wow. I might have to do it. I might have to go all in on German CS here. I might have to do it. Oh, it's just too... Oh, do I really risk my pick stop ring? Now that I'm first, I care so much more. Oh, gosh, and so I should just do what's, like, proper and right. Like, if you guys actually want to use your brain here, it might be Cloud9, but I just think Big are really looking kind of good. But Cloud9 didn't look bad either, so we're going to be honest about that. And then FaZe C9, are you telling me one of these teams doesn't make it? One of these teams doesn't make it to the playoffs? Is this what you're saying? Is this what you're saying? I guess I am assuming Liquid makes it through over C9, but yeah, we're going to give that to FaZe. We're going to give that to FaZe, and we're going to give this to G2. All right, next side of the bracket. Heroic versus Complexity. Again, I'm going to go kind of fast through these. Heroic. Yes, this is Heroic. Complexity, I'm so glad they made it. I'm so glad. I think this is a team now that people from North America can start really rooting for. I think if you haven't gotten on the Complexity hype train yet, it's not too late. It's just taking off. The door is not closed. It's open. It's ajar. If you got your ticket, or you can buy your ticket online, on the train. You know, you ever do that? You ever rushed in Europe or something and you just buy your ticket on the train and you just kind of hold that. Actually, you know what crazy trick is that you just get on these trains in Europe and you just pretend like you have it ready. Like if any, and sometimes the conductors or whatever don't even come, and so you can actually just hold that there and then you press buy when you see the guy coming. And if it never comes, you never ever have to buy it. Don't don't deport me. Okay. OG Mouse here. I'm gonna go with Mouse. I think they are good. They're just. I mean, I think Mouse are OG are kind of like a rocky team. Vitality Nip. That's just Vitality all day. I think NIP are just a little bit. They're still getting things together. Fnatic Outsider. This is a huge gamble because we haven't seen this new Chiron Outsiders yet. But I'm gonna go with. This was kind of close before too. I think at the major. Oh god, that's another really tough one. I'm gonna go with Fnatic. I think they have the live match experience right now, and even though I think Outsiders will be better in 2 months, I think Fnatic's better today. So that's why I'm going with that one. Heroic Mouse. We're gonna go with Heroic, by the way, all the way. Vitality Fnatic. I know I just spoiled it a little bit, guys, and I'm also spoiling Heroic Vitality. I'm going a little quick, okay? I feel rushed because there's only an hour and a half left. Okay, so that's just what it is. Vitality, I think are really good right now. I think they actually have a really great chance to beat Heroic, who might maybe lost a step, and I think Vitality maybe has ramped up. But I think that Heroic will get it together for this kind of game. Like getting two officials in a row to really warm up into this, including Mouse, who's going to be a tough opponent for Heroic. I think Heroic are going to get their ish together, and Vitality probably are going to like have a couple game plans exposed here. And so Complexity OG, we're going to get into like these really good teams, by the way, for the playoffs, so I can describe those so much more then, but we're talking about these lower bracket teams before we close it out. Complexity OG, I'm going to go with Complexity here, and this is a little bit of NA, and I mean, I don't even know if it's that much bias. I think Complexity are good. They just beat ENCE, and I think ENCE, I would have probably thought ENCE should have been better than OG, but beginning of seasons, OG are always particularly good. Doesn't seem like there's any good reason for that, but they just are. I feel like they just try really hard for Blast, and I think they always look a little sharper than they should, but I don't think they look as sharp as Complexity do. Complexity actually, they righted their wrongs. That's the biggest thing about Complexity in this matchup. Like, their Inferno is good now. They actually know, like, the swap between Floppy and Grim on CT spots is good. It's working. And so it's kind of worrying for Fnatic even versus Complexity, because you probably would think that they would go for something like Inferno, maybe, and then Complexity could win that. I don't think that you count them out. NIP Outsiders, this is a game where I think NIP is actually going to win this. And then because I just think that they're starting to put some of the even though they don't have much time so far, I think they've actually started putting the pieces together in a weird way. And I think Outsiders is kind of a style that people are getting more and more used to playing against. And yeah, I guess I'm putting the major winners as in last place in the group stage. Fnatic Complexity, I'm not going to go as far. I'd say, like, you give me this matchup 10 times, and I think Fnatic's going to win it 7. I think Complexity, like, it's a 1 to 3 for me, more or less, or 1 to 2, that is. And it's just kind of like almost like 30%, yeah, 33%, 66%. So yeah, I think that with that kind of logic, I just think Fnatic are better. I think Halzerk, even though he looked pretty good in their final series to beat ENCE, I just don't think he's consistent. And that's why I'd say, like, there are days when Complexity win this one, and it just kind of is about who shows up that day. I think Grim actually might be the best rifler in the server. That's so crazy to say, and so hopeful, but it's actually how I feel right now. I think Grim might be the best rifle. I mean, he might be the best player in the server in that game. But I think that Complexity is still, like, it's just tough to, like, imagine they're going to keep putting these games together. Like, I think they're going to be pretty happy about beating OG, but then Fnatic, yeah, I just think, like, Fnatic maybe is one step ahead of them. Just one, and I think that with Fnatic, their floor is just a little higher, whereas Complexity's floor can be really bad sometimes. Mao's NIP, I am going with Mao's, and I'm actually gonna go with Mao's over Fnatic here. I'll explain this one before I submit, but I think that Mao's just every single time they get a break, I feel like they change things up so well. I think Cyclone, I think JDC, I think everybody on this team have come together to look at what's the meta in the space. They are constantly trying to, like, pick at that meta, and they're this team that I think is weirdly almost underrated, even though they keep doing so well. And Fnatic may be a little bit underrated too, actually. I think these are two teams that are weirdly underrated. And now that I look at this group, it seems so much easier than the other group. Yeah, this is kind of rough that the other group is so much harder because I think Heroic and Vitality are almost like shoe-ins, and then the third team's kind of a little bit more of a who knows if it could be Maus, could be Fnatic, it could even be Nip on a good day, or Outsiders. Like I'm not even counting Outsiders that closely in this one. So yeah, these are my pick'ems, guys. This is really hard to go this far in advance, and as always, being toxic is a choice. Submit. Don't forget to submit.